Somewhere in America right now, there's a guy in his late 20s sitting alone in an apartment. He's got a job. Maybe. Doesn't feel like it matters either way. He's got a phone full of people he hasn't actually talked to in months. He's got Netflix and DoorDash and every form of entertainment ever invented, right there in his pocket. And he hasn't felt genuinely needed by another human being in longer than he can remember. He's not in a war zone. He's not starving. Nobody's hunting him down. He's just gone. Still showing up, still breathing, but gone in every way that used to count. And here's the thing. He's not alone in being alone. For the first time ever, young American men are failing at almost every single measure we use to track whether someone's doing okay. They're dropping out of college at historic rates. In 1970, men earned 58% of all college degrees. That number has completely flipped. The labor force participation rate for men between 25 and 54 has been falling since the 1960s. Suicide rates among American men are 4 times higher than women. Men make up 70% of all overdose deaths. Nearly 80% of all homeless adults in America are men. And the one that hits different, a 2021 survey found that 15% of American men reported having 0 close friends. Not a few, 0. In 1990, that number was 3%. Something happened. Something is still happening. And almost nobody wants to say what it actually is. To understand it, you got to go back, not to the 1950s, not to the Industrial Revolution. You have to go back 300,000 years. For basically all of human history, being a man meant something specific. Men were hunters. Men were protectors. Men were the ones who ran toward the danger so everyone else could live. This wasn't assigned to them. It wasn't invented by society. It was selected for, by evolution, over millions of years. The men who ran toward danger, who took risks, who provided, who showed up when things got bad, those men survived. Those men had kids. Those men passed their wiring directly to you. The hunt either worked or it didn't. The shelter held or it didn't. The group made it through winter or it didn't, and then it got taken away. Not all at once. Slowly, over decades, in ways that each seemed totally reasonable at the time. Machines replaced physical labor. White-collar work replaced blue-collar work. The economy shifted from making things to processing things. From building to managing, from hunting to optimizing quarterly reports and sitting in back-to-back Zoom calls. And something in the male nervous system, something 300,000 years old, looked at a spreadsheet and just did not know what to do with it. This isn't about intelligence. It isn't about whether men can handle office work. It's about meaning. The male brain isn't wired to find deep meaning in things that are abstract and invisible and impossible to measure. It was wired to find meaning in effort that produces something real, something that keeps the people you love alive. When that kind of work disappeared, the meaning went with it. But losing meaningful work was only the first hit. The second one was worse. For 300,000 years, men needed a group, not wanted, needed. A tribe of other men who shared the same mission. Men who trained together, hunted together, faced real danger together, and built real trust through years of shared hardship. That bond, the kind forged through difficulty, is one of the most powerful social structures in all of human history. It's the foundation of every army, every brotherhood, every team that has ever done anything that mattered. And it is gone. The institutions that used to create male community have collapsed one by one. Civic organizations, veterans halls, church congregations, trade unions, the neighborhood bar where guys gathered, not really to drink, but just to exist around other men who understood what their life felt like, all of it gone. Robert Putnam wrote about the collapse of these institutions in his book Bowling Alone back in 2000, but what he measured was just the beginning. In the 25 years since that book came out, the collapse has gone way further than anything he documented, and then the internet showed up, and it promised to replace everything that had been lost. Connection without friction, community without effort, brotherhood without ever having to leave your apartment. It delivered none of it, because the male nervous system cannot be fooled by a screen. It's looking for something very specific. Physical presence, shared hardship, the knowledge that the guy beside you isn't going anywhere when things get hard. That signal cannot come through a device. It never has. It never will. What the internet delivered instead was something way more dangerous. It delivered a simulation of belonging, just convincing enough to stop men from going out and finding the real thing. And then came the thing that finished the job, the identity crisis. For most of human history, being a man came with a clear script. Provider, protector, builder, father. These weren't just roles. They were the whole organizing principle of a life. That script is gone, and nothing has been written to replace it. The male nervous system is looking for a mission. It has always needed a mission, not a job, not a hobby, not a streaming service. A mission, something bigger than itself, something worth real sacrifice, something that answers the question that every man's nervous system is asking at some level every single day. What am I actually for? When that question has no answer, the nervous system doesn't go quiet. It goes wrong. The statistics are what happens when millions of nervous systems go wrong at the same time. These aren't moral failures. They aren't weakness. They are the completely predictable output of a biological system that was running a program and then had nothing left to run it toward. A man with no mission doesn't become peaceful. He becomes dangerous to himself first and sometimes to the people around him. And here is what makes this different from every other conversation about men in America America. This is not about blame. It is not women's fault that men are struggling. It's not the fault of any political movement or cultural shift. The forces that took away meaningful work, dismantled male community, and erased the male script were economic and technological and systemic. Because the male nervous system, more than any other, depends on external structure to function, on clear roles, on defined purpose, on missions with outcomes you can actually measure. Take that structure away and the system doesn't adapt. It collapses. Look at that guy in the apartment again. He isn't lazy. His nervous system was literally built to run toward danger and to carry weight, to protect people, to build things, to sacrifice. That drive is still inside him. It did not go anywhere. It just has nowhere to go. The hunt is gone. The tribe is gone. The mission is gone. What replaced them was a phone, a food delivery app, and a vague cultural message telling him he should just figure it out on his own. For 300,000 years, no man had to figure it out on his own. He was born into a structure that told him exactly what he was for. The structure held him, gave his nervous system what it needed to actually function. It gave him other men who were not going to let him disappear quietly into an apartment, and somewhere in the last 50 years, and that structure dissolved. No announcement, no replacement, just gone. No announcement, no replacement, just gone. And the guy in the apartment, who has everything he needs to survive and nothing he needs to actually live, is what that dissolution looks like from the inside. He is not disappearing because he chose to. He is disappearing because the world that was built for him stopped existing, and nobody really noticed until the data made it impossible to look away. The question was never what went wrong with American men. The question is what we built and what we forgot to put inside it. We built an incredibly advanced civilization and forgot to include what men actually need to function inside it. Every young man in America right now is navigating this without a map. Nobody handed them a map. The map was supposed to be handed down. It wasn't. Previous generations had it handed to them. Work, family, community, service. That chain broke, and the men standing at the end of the broken chain are drowning, quietly, invisibly, in plain sight. The phone is not a solution. It's a pacifier. It soothes the feeling without addressing the cause. And every year, the cause gets stronger while the pacifier gets more powerful. The male nervous system has been running without what it needs for 50 years of running on empty, and the data is screaming. And most people aren't listening because the conversation about men in America has been hijacked by politics. This is not a political problem. This is a biology problem. The male nervous system does not care about your political affiliation, conservative or liberal, rich or poor. The nervous system needs the same things: mission, tribe, structure, purpose. Without those four things, any man, anywhere will struggle. With those four things, any man, anywhere can function. The solution is not complicated. It's just not being done. We need to build what was dismantled, rebuild the spaces where men can be in community, design work around visible contribution and shared mission, create rites of passage that tell young men what they are for. We built an incredibly advanced civilization and forgot to include what men actually need to function inside it. And the cost of that forgetting is in every statistic we've already looked at. The man in the apartment is not a lost cause. The drive is still there. The wiring is still intact. He just needs what every man before him had: a mission, a tribe, and a structure that tells him what he's for. None of that is complicated. All of it is available. It's just not being done. And every year it isn't done. The numbers get worse.